Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Yes, we have an interesting couple of questions left here. From off script in the YouTube, it says, "Good day, Mr. Keshe. Is a plasma in control of itself in space, or is it controlled by the environment it's within? During transmutation, the control point felt external, but internal at the same time."
Yes, it's got both characteristics. Position of it, how much to give, how I take dictated by outside. But in what to give to create that position is decided by inside. This is how we use it for the flight system. It's as simple as that. Any other question?
Okay, that question is a segue to David's question in the webinar chat here. It says, "Do we live in a spirit-matter duality, or is there no matter at all? Does the tangible universe just appear as solid matter to us, when in reality everything is just spirit?"
The only answer you can give to this, which is actually scientific, is the matter state itself is a part of magnetic field spectrum. If you understand, let's say, this spectrum of magnetic fields has, let's say, energy level between 5 and 20, to you is matter state. But if I'm made of, let's say, 50, I can go through this 5 and 20 with the ease. For me, it's not a matter state. So is the matter state to you reality because it's your physicality, and does it exist to me, which I still have no interaction with to confirm the existence of, because the energy I carry is above that level that you manifest yourself physicality. To say in English, the birds of the same feather fly together. This is the same. If you are of that type of feather, that's what you see. If you're not, you don't see. In a way, you exist, but it's a matter of getting what I call, explain this to a child. Maybe you understand it's easier. You get one of these sugar sticks and try to punch it through ice. Doesn't go through. It's got manifestation of it. You get the same sugar stick and punch it through a cup of tea or a water. It just goes right through. It's the same water. You create a combination of it. You made it in a way blocking the field strength up, and then you use it as a water. You can apply to it. It's on the you empty the same cup, but leave some vapor of that water in there, and you just go through it. That don't even have the resistance of the water. Where is that H2O? It depends what environment you created and what you observe with that environment. It's the same. Is magnetic field strength dependent on if it is a matter state, and you are in a matter state, you expect to see the matter state, but something has gone through. We had this very recently, very, very recently, that we had this now a couple of occasions where material goes through the body and still stays the same. Physicality feels it, but cannot and will not stay. It's like a bullet going through you, but you have no bleeding, nothing happens, and you just feel a little bit of pain because of energy transfer. And this is a reality. We have had it in tests. We've seen it. When it happens in our hand, it's not somebody reporting it. So we package the matter in an energy field, which can go through the body and does not exist. But the body is there. But because it goes through in certain physicality interactions, leaves something like a pain and then disappears. We still have the man without any injuries, and we still have our pieces intact together as a material. So it's matter, energy, strength dependent. And you know, in olden days, they used to throw like a rope to catch a bird or whatever, and then pull it, or you tow what you call it, the ship with a bar or with a rope. Now we can throw the rope through the ship under the end of it, and still have a rope, but doesn't show any harm to the ship. And we understand the process. And this has happened to us in the very recent past a couple of times. Materials can go through bodies, but because they are in a plasma and state condition wrapped, they're at the state that the plasma, they go through the body. They don't stay in the body. But because in that transition, like the light, they hit to each other and you see the light, they leave something as a pain, and the pain disappears on its own. In a way, a bullet which doesn't kill if you look at it that way.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 592nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, May 29th, 2025. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, Education Department, and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be host once again in this weekly series of workshops. And once again, we have the pleasure and honor of having Mr. Mehran Keshe as our main presenter here. And I believe he's ready to do some presenting today. Please go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you. As usual, whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers from Keshe Foundation and Spaceship Institute. As usual, we try to expand the knowledge and see how much we can understand more about ourselves, our environment, our world, when we are going from a little village of Earth into the cosmopolitan universe of the Creator. In the past few weeks, as has been the trend, we concentrate on a matter for months and months and sometimes a couple of years to expand more and more in deeper way for people to understand. We're still busy with understanding of time. Time has no characteristics. Time is the creature created by and through conditions which it has no control, but in a way it sets in operation of one life, one existence anywhere in the universe. In the past few weeks, we explained about the place, position, and possession. But time is not only created by that. If you refer back into what I call connection of the soul, we always spoke from the very first teaching, some 500 odd teachings ago, about the emotion. Emotion is not characteristics and is not exclusivity of physical life. Emotion is a reaction. How we decide to react is an operator. In a way, when everything comes together, how I'm going to react. Man has emotion, animals have emotion, plants have emotion, galaxies have emotion, even the universes have emotion. But we do not see, we are not aware of. We are aware of our own emotion, or a cat we see, or a dog. But emotion is a cornerstone of creation of time. It's not, as I always said, life has two sides, yin and yang, place, position, and possession is a matter side of it, is a tangibility, physicality of it. But every physical condition has an energy parallel. The energy parallel of time in a physical place, position, and possession is emotion. One of the cornerstones of it is emotion, because it has to react. It has to show what it gathered and how it can show itself. In the dimension of the man's understanding, if you go back in all the teachings, I always say, you take from these teachings according to your intelligence. Intelligence is in how you assess the emotion received and how you react, how you bring the past information to bring it in position. Emotion exists in both dimensions. Intelligence exists in one dimension, and that's in the dimension of energy. In a way, if you can describe emotion in a different way, It's like when you have two magnetic gravitational fields, we create mass, and interaction of them with another gravitational magnetic field creates weight, which has no connection to the actual two entities. Is the outcome of the balance of the fields of the two. Emotion is in that category, is an outcome of the interaction of the two worlds of physicality. In the world of science, we call it SALT, connects the physical side, or what you call it, matter side, to the other side. But emotion itself is created out of interaction of what we call the fields of the physical part. Now, if you have emotion and you gathered intelligence, which is the knowledge of the past, again, intelligence has no dimension of physicality. Like emotion, is the energy side, it's the field side. When you put the emotion in conjunction with intelligence, or your understanding, from what you understood, how you react, it creates enlightenment. This is the mystery of life. We look for enlightenment, but if you look, when emotion is in a matter state and you're in the stress, you create yourself a heart attack, brain hemorrhage. You create all sorts of physical damages. But if the emotion is in the level of the soul of the man, energy side, what we call without dimension, and interacts with the intelligence for what you understood in that emotion, it brings enlightenment. As we had the place, the position, and the position, in the dimension of energy, we have the emotion, the intelligence, and enlightenment. Again, as we saw, the position, and the place creates the dimension of time in the matter state. This creates time in the dimension of the energy. When you're enlightened, then the time has no position. The time moves on according to the strength of intelligence, what you gathered, how you added the emotion, and what emotion brought you the intelligence, what it brought you the enlightenment. Then we see, for example, people who tell us things, and in the future we see, they say, oh, this guy 200 years ago said such a thing. This means that the guy had emotion, had the intelligence, and with that intelligence he was enlightened, which that enlightenment is 200 years time ahead, 200 years ahead. So the emotion, the enlightenment, and the intelligence, time brings a different factor of dimension away from dimension of physicality. We call them future tellers, but in fact, you have to look at the structure of their life, what they went in, what affected their emotion, what intelligence they had, and that intelligence, what enlightenment brought them, that the time has moved on. The time is years, hundreds of years, because they assess the intelligence by all the knowledge, not by the physical emotion. We react with the physical emotion, we shout, we run, we create a new time by running from one place to another. In the dimension of the enlightenment is the time factor ahead. And this is where the man, if he understands how to connect the emotion between the emotion of physicality and the emotion of the soul of the man and the intelligence, and get enlightened, uses to create the new time in the dimension of the transmutation. Because now it's not a physical time, it's not morning, afternoon, and lunch. It's a time where that intelligence, that enlightenment, give the man on this planet 200 years ahead, but gives the soul of the man a position in the dimension of universe we actually exist. Because intelligence in that part in that moment is equal to intelligence of another position, place, and position in the space. Now we see time has two factors, one in a matter state and one in an energy state. And once the man of knowledge, those who get enlightened understand, will understand soon that you can use the time to travel between the energy or matter and bring the dimension of the energy, the enlightenment, into the matter state of the position. I made man in an image of myself, as I have two images of an energy, a manifestation of physicality of the universe, but the energy, the enlightenment which flows across the universe I created. Has no dimension of physicality, but is the outcome of the interaction of the fields of me. I am the creator. In a way, you water a plant physically, but you give the rays of the sun for it to grow. One is a matter state and one is energy. Enlightenment, the time in the dimension of the fields of the energy, is that sun. But the time on the plant is the physicality of the growth physically. One cannot exist without the other one. We cannot grow a plant without that. We see this in the world of creation. I referred to it last week in the teaching because I knew what's going to come this week. We explain why life exists on this planet. Because of this angle, the four seasons, creation of diversity. But there is a mystery in the world of the creation that, as I said, we are those clouds which become to the outer edge of the atmosphere and then rain back in. We go back to the mother, we rain back again on the earth, we evaporize, we come back to. And this process happens, and we see this in cosmology very clearly. And man does not understand this because man doesn't have the insight to knowledge to understand. As we rain back in, the characteristics is most of the time the same. What does this mean? The time, the place, the position in interaction with the time of the energy at a given point of space-time interaction creates a specific condition. Today, I unravel a secret that will shock the world of knowledge, but in time, man will understand. As we rain back in, depending on the condition of atmosphere, we are a rain, we are a snow, we become hailstone, and become blizzard, depending on the condition of the speed of the environment. But at the end, we become that water. Depending on the atmospheric condition as the moisture goes through. Therefore, if we look at the condition at a given temperature and pressure, snow turns to hailstone, turns to a raindrop, and then it becomes a raindrop back into the earth. If you look at the mode of cosmology, that raindrop goes through the condition to become ready, then to become that raindrop. There is a lot of discussion in the world of creation, in the world of cosmology, about Mars. We look at Mars, we look at the structure of its physicality. They tell us it had rivers, they tell us it has this, it has that. But in fact, if you look at the time, if you look at the angle of inclination of the Earth and Mars, is nearly the same. Few millidegrees, few seconds and minutes apart. What does this mean? This means Earth was in a position of Mars. It started the characteristic change to have rivers and structures before it reaches the position closer to the mother, to the sun. What we see on Mars is the past life of Earth in that position. And what will happen to Mars when it gets to this orbit in respect to the sun as Earth is, we start seeing life. We see the evolution on this planet as it comes closer. It's taken its position, it's taken its angle, it's taken its diversity, it's taken every possible position and position with this condition. It is very simple. It is absolutely simple if you want to understand this. I bring you a couple of pictures that it might bring a lot of truth into a lot of our lives. And then you understand what the time, the position, and then the enlightenment and the emotion, and then the intelligence come all together. The planet Mars is in a state of the place, position, and possession. When it reaches at a certain field, the strength of the enlightenment of the light of the Creator, which is the position of the Earth today, it will revive to a life because the Earth has moved on to the position of the Venus moving forward. And when you look at these pictures, when you understand this in reality, just look at the times. Earth has 23:56 degrees, 56 minutes. Mars has 24 hours and 37 minutes. It's coming in. It's coming to replace life on Earth, where Earth, by going closer to the creation of what we call itself, to the mother, we lose life on this planet. What we see in Venus, we will see on our Earth in the coming time. But as you go forward, again, you look at the angle of the Earth and the angle of the Mars. Then you understand life is a position, but it has a place which is connected to the emotion, intelligence, and enlightenment. Those of us who are trying to go to Mars, to start living in Mars, travel instead of your physical dimension, in the dimension of the energy, the soul, and stand outside, your new planet will come. Mars will be the next generation of life, where life, the way we see on this planet, will come to enlightenment. It'll come to live. It'll have life on it. And if you look at all the planetary system, if you look at the structure of all the solar systems which contain life, this position, place, emotion, enlightenment, and intelligence work together, create a new time for life in a given space and time in both dimensions, as we call in Chinese, yin and yang. So what we see on Mars is the pastime of Earth. The rivers come and go, but it needs to get into the place and the position of Earth, orbital condition, manifestation of physicality to create new condition of lives. And the world of science very soon will understand what I explained. You have to have a given position, place, with the dimension of emotion, intelligence, and enlightenment. And in that position, you find life in a condition man is used to. So, what if you go on Mars and look at Earth, you see the future of Mars. When we're standing on Earth, we look back to Mars, we see the past of Earth, how we became, how it developed, how it energized to be, and everything fits into one and to another. But when we look at the Venus, the evolution of the turn after about 45 degree becomes so rapid that it takes a full twist, and then by interaction of the fields inside moves in. Therefore, with understanding of the totality of the knowledge, with understanding how the two are similar, is not coincidental. We are coming in and we're going through. The place is always the same. This orbit creates life. The position between the Earth and Mars is the same because it carries the gravitational magnetic field, the strength of the mother. The emotion on the Mars, when reaches the point of the Earth orbit, will dictate creation of new entities, new lives. And if you understand the space between the Mars and the Earth, and then you will see a time will come that we will see life on both planets at the same time. Mars will, being further out, having a bigger expansion of magnetic gravitational field atmosphere, allow large creatures, what we call the dinosaurs, to be grown up. Man who lives in that atmosphere condition will be a very tall man. Then, in so many ways, we go through the evolution of time. If you are a man who's born on Mars and look at the Earth, you see the future of the man, but with different intelligence, with different understanding. And you have to understand at the same time as the Mars is taking position for Earth, the sun is losing its power. So different creatures, different souls will be created on Mars in position and the place of the Earth. It will not be replication. They'll have different emotion, they have different intelligence, they have most probably less intellect than the man of today. As the sun loses the strength, the heat becomes less as we see it during the day. As we move away from the light of the sun in the afternoon is different than the heat on the top. Lunchtime. Their strength is less. So the intelligence of the creatures on Mars will be different than us. We will start finding lives inside inner sanctums, layers of the Mars, as they become the original structure of life. In the past week, in the laboratory tests, we have seen creatures created. We created the condition. We have recorded it to confirm the change in time, and we can dictate what creatures will be created in coming time. As I said, I have a box with me somewhere in the lab. It's been with me since 2007-8. creatures inside it that have their own intelligence. I watch them, I see them. Because I created the place, position, and position, but I did not give the condition of the emotion, the intelligence, and the enlightenment. That is kept within. Once it's opened up, we have to see how it reacts. And the same thing goes with the man. This factor of angle difference between the Earth and the Mars is not coincidental. It's exactly how it should be. Because in coming time, Earth will match in around that 24 hours. And this is a time when we start seeing life on both planets. Till Earth moves further in. When Mercury gets absorbed into the Sun, Mars will move in the place of Earth, else moves in the position of Venus, and will take the same characteristic and further on. And then we see the what we call Jupiter behind Mars will start taking position of Mars. We see valleys, we will see rivers, we will see the first structure of life. The planets have to be made ready to become bearer of life, of the structure we see, even though they themselves create life in their own position, and place. There's as much life on Neptune as is on Earth. But man has to become too wise. Man has to become to understand the process of creation. Each place, position, and position has a time. When the time of the position, and the place matches the time of the emotion, the intelligence, and most of you understand, will be the same time. It gets enlightened. And when the two time match, life is created. Yin and yin, physicality and energy. There is no life if there is no sun. Sun is the enlightenment, and life is a dimension of physicality. Today, I unravel the knowledge that those who will come the man of space need to know. If you're looking for a position and a place to carry life in, you'll have to look for the six to find a common time denominator. Time of life, beginning of life of the energy in the dimension of the soul of the man. We do that with our children, with the womb of the mother. Now you understand why we talk about the children of Mitra. Those are created in the dimension of energy, and man children which are created out of interaction of physicality. Now you understand how the children of Mitra will be enlightened to understanding of the totality of the creation in all dimensions of the creation, and not the earthly matter physicality of the man. They are intelligent. They understand the totality of the creation, where man is busy with the dimension of physicality. When I read and I hear that Mr. Musk is going to the Mars, I was going to write to him, don't rush. Wait here. Get yourself into space. Mars will arrive and life will be on it. This is the truth about understanding the process of the what we call cosmic rays, cosmology of life, rays of cosmos, which creates life. I explained to a knowledge seeker, coincidentally, accidentally, but by the will of God, or whatever you call it, cosmic rays is the creation of mark of the creation. And coincidentally, the financial arm of the Keshe Foundation is mark ray. We mark that ray which creates a life in the universe. Understanding of life is not coincidental. It needs the maturity. It needs the intelligence. It needs the enlightenment to understand. Man can be enlightened and live in another dimension, as is the dimension of energy, while man lives, matures as a man on this planet in the dimension of physicality. I made man in the image of myself. I exist within me, within the center of the creation, and I enlighten. And in the dimension of physicality, the furthest point from me, I create man to confirm my existence. Soul of the man is the connection in the dimension of energy, where the physicality of the man is a confirmation of manifestation of its existence. One day, today's teaching will change the course of history of the knowledge, when the man understands the process of creation. We don't live by time. Our life creates the time. We don't travel the time. Time travels with us because we are creator of it. Once man understands the importance and connection between the time on the energy side and the time on the matter state energy, man will break through one of the biggest discoveries of science and knowledge of the universe and creation. When those two times come together, lead to creation and connection to the creator. But it needs the intelligence of the man to understand, appreciate, analyze, and comprehend the difference between the two times. To match the time of the energy and to match the time of the physicality together to be the same, leads to the creation of the man with the soul of the man within it, with restriction on its totality. The soul of the man is confined within the structure of the physicality of the brain of the man. And then the soul of the physicality of the man and the soul of the man are constrained with the dimension of the atmospheric gravitational field of this planet. Man needs to break through to understand more. Independent investigation of the man's own field of strength is the responsibility of every man to understand where the soul will be and where, in what intellectual line sits in understanding the what we call enlightenment level. Birds fly with birds and cats with cats. Doctors go together and the lawyers together because they have that level of intelligence which matches. They've been trained for that. So shall be the soul of the man when reaches that enlightenment, has a position which the other souls of the same enlightenment possess in a given position and dimension in the universe. If you understand this, then it comes to the next point of understanding, that even the galaxies are created out of the enlightenment, and those who are enlightened of the same strength, magnetic field strength and understanding, will find their position in that universe. In a way, if you're a doctor, you go where the doctors are in the hospital, and if they're a lawyer, you go to court where all the lawyers are. So when the man knowledge increases and understand more and reaches more mature enlightenment, you will find that each galaxy is characterized by the field strength of that structure of the souls which are enlightened to be, and in that position that lead to manifestation of new stars. This is why the galaxies are so crowded, because there are so many enlightenments by the creatures, by created life across this universe find their position. Then, if man one day can reach the dimension of intelligence to be able to measure the field strength of the enlightenment, you can directly point out to which galaxy that soul will manifest itself in, and even its position and the place. These are the mysteries of the creation. And as a teacher, it's our job to enlighten you that when you go across different galaxies, across different universes, understand the intelligence of, the reason of, the purpose of existence of that galaxy, universe, in the unicos. I hope today I open your eyes to a new dimension of knowledge. This is our job to enlighten you. As I said, I take you to the point of the heaven. Mitra's daughter's job to take you through the heaven. But man has to be prepared, dressed, and be ready to take that position. That is ready to understand the connection between the time of energy and the time of physicality. That interaction on its own brings a new dimension that the man is not aware of. And it leads to the time of creation. The origin of the gravitational magnetic fields, the origin of the magnetic fields. As I said, one of the books will be about magnetic fields. And from now on, you understand that that book is written by you understanding it and by us explaining it. And in the future, that book will be written by the man himself and the creatures of the universe. Just remember, the matching time between the Earth and the Mars and the angle of inclination is not coincidental. It's our wish and our will, and it's the process of the creation, and shall be observed across the universe. We'll go for a break and we come back. Try to answer as many questions as possible. Rick, will you take us for a break?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Keshe. All right, well, we'll take a short break here with the 592nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And I'll remind people in the second part of the show, you will have an opportunity to ask questions of Mr. Keshe. And our attendees here in the Zoom webinar can raise their virtual hands, and then we can allow your microphone to open, and you can ask your question. You can also post in the Q&A part of the webinar or in the chat, and also in the chat in YouTube. Okay, we'll be back shortly. Okay, we're back again. I apologize if the sound was not operating correctly there. There's it seemed to be a problem with my sharing of sound. The sound did not show up in my Zoom here. So anyway, we're back again at the 592nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop and ready to begin the second part with Mr. Keshe. And I believe he'll be ready to go. Are you there, Mr. Keshe?
Yes, ready, willing, and able as usual. There is a couple of points as usual we try to discuss in the second part of the break. One is that, as you're aware, we have just returned back from a very successful, what we call, work. And if you have noticed, and if you're aware of the news, the Chinese authorities are reporting the emergence of COVID in Hong Kong and now in the mainland. I always explained in the past when we handled some 6 years ago, the African swine flu in China, which happened during the summer. I explained seeing the summer flu, especially in northern hemisphere, is very unusual. And that creates a massive problems in China. The new COVID again is appearing in summer. So it has taken a different action, different strength. And we have to understand this new position and what we call condition. If this situation carries on and we see expansion of the COVID, as we release COP1, COP2 in the past, which many of you use, has been successful, a lot of you, a new summer version, COP1, COP2, will be introduced on a matter of emergency. Has different characteristics, carries a bond which covers the summer strength, because in summer we have a higher strength field than in the winter. The COVID COP1, COP2 will not be so effective. Once we get to this position and we run our tests, we'll release this knowledge if it becomes pandemic. And through the arm of the Keshe Foundation and Market Corporation, we release this technology as a technology across the planet. The emergence of a summer flu, and this is strengthened, we seen a couple of weeks ago, Chinese government reports 30 deaths in Hong Kong and more complications on the mainland. If it expands, as we did with COVID in 2020, we released the emergency COP1, COP2. We will release COP1, COP2 summer virus. It will tries to avert and to bring back under control the condition of virus. You have to understand we are a space technology, and as always said, in the space we don't have microbes and bacteria. Only it will be existing in the body of the man, but outside interaction will create viruses for the body of the man. What this means, it means in space we'll see man will have infections, we'll see man will have bacteria according to his own amino acid. But as we don't see operation of the atmosphere carrying amino acid entities, most of our problems in space will be virus or energy pack related. And in a way, if we extend this to a new understanding dimension, we'll introduce a new, what we call, process for control of viruses. This process I developed over 20 years ago. It's not something new, but as I said, we have many, many developments that is shelved, and when is needed will be applied. This is something you never knew. This technology or this process has never been known by knowledge seekers. We never unraveled, we never showed it, but is extensively used in the past by me for specific conditions. So when we introduce this, if the corona expands, is to match the summer strength of the corona. And this will be done through a rapid expansion through the Chinese operation of the Keshe Foundation and through the systems we have set up with the officials in the country. So this time they're not going to use our technology behind us. We directly get involved in delivering technology directly in public to the way we operated with the Iran Defense University during the corona. In a way, what I'm trying to tell you, don't worry, if it picks up, we have already everything ready for it. It won't take you knowledge seekers much to do the way as you did with a cup 1, cup 2. Is more or less the same process with a small diversion and variation. And we see that this virus corona will affect different calciums in different layers of the body, not the same what we saw with the brains and with the lung. In the process of the work of the Keshe Foundation, we will release in a very short time a large number of products, which again goes on the back of what it comes through our operations with our partners and the licensees of the Keshe Foundation. And we bring this under control directly through the market corporation structure. Many of you have written to me, I have shares here and there. Speak to your agents and ask them for authorization. Get your certificates through, because as we've seen, there's activities as started in the market, stock market. Used to be 005, now is around 11, 12, and it's going to build up as many of you are trying to get into this structure. We are not releasing any more shares into the market. So what is there is there. You decide the position and the condition of it. And make sure if you have bought a share, you have the certificates from the agents as your operators to issue you the papers that you have as we collaborate directly into that position. In the coming time, we will announce the purpose of the Keshe Foundation taking over all the shares of Markray. It's an international structure for us, which brings us to the position we promised, world peace through technology. We will use our shares to bring balance and change the course of the political, what we call scientific position. You will understand when it comes to it. It'll be a few weeks, some months away. And at the same time, we introduce a new structure of international finance without dependence on currencies, which again brings back to our cash coin. Those of you who bought cash coin, try to strengthen your cash coin deposit because you will understand the purpose of it. Try to increase your holding on this because you will understand very soon how we connect everything together. And it will be fantastic to see the process of the creation of peace through technology. You got to understand, we work as Keshe Foundation. We have developed different arms of the Keshe Foundation, Universal Council, Earth Council, the cash coins, and the operation through our financial arm, the operation of the Keshe Foundation Research Development, the establishment of world peace, the what we call transmutation and transportation and the teaching which lead to this point. We are preparing everything for colonization, for to take man across on the moon, on Mars, and everywhere else. We do not pay wages to our astronauts while they're in space. We look after them. This will be the same situation from those who leave this planet and go to Mars and to Moon and the other planetary system. The children of man have to be protected by man, and man has to plan for that time now, not when it comes to it in the rush. Then this is part of that plan. Invest heavily if you have into cash coins. We'll explain the reason for it, and you will understand heavily why. It'll change the course. and many of you, same as many of you took both shares in market, make sure you sit in the correct position, comfortable position, because it's you who support the change. It's you who sets the scene for the change. We have put no limitation on cash coins. Try to acquire as much as you can and hold on to it. Do not spend it, as some of you do, because it's time to reserve. And then you understand how you will see the wise move in that position when we release the totality and connection between all arms of the Keshe Foundation together. We go, if you have any questions to ask, try to answer you. By the way, before I forget, there will be an expansion in the resin section of the Keshe Foundation. Massive amount of resin products and cosmetic materials will be released by Keshe Foundation. Keshe Foundation, the manufacturing arm, has managed and reached the position of Keshe Foundation products as alternative materials to be able to be bought in chemists and pharmacists around Austria and Germany. You can go to your pharmacy and ask for materials, which is now going through and has already been delivered to some chemists and pharmacists. We have reached that level of certification, and you can buy materials directly from your pharmacy, or you can ask the pharmacy, and if they say where they don't know, to put them in touch with the Keshe Foundation manufacturing arm, and everything is done. You will soon will see a full products on the pharmacy list as alternative energy systems, which is now approved and is in the Austrian chemists and pharmacists, and by European law, once one nation passes through, the other nations, if you ask your pharmacists in Portugal, in France, or anywhere else to stock up, and if you are doctors, you ask them to stock up and you order it for your patients to take, now it can be done. Now that it's been authorized and now is in the what we call in the market as alternative material for wellness. If there are any questions, let me know and we'll try to answer.
Yes, we have several, quite a few questions actually. Let me see where to begin. Let's begin with Wynn's question in our webinar chat. Says, what is the difference between life in outer planets, Jupiter, Uranus, and life on Earth? Is it the intelligence? Is it that they don't have physical manifestation only?
Is combination, and it's a variation. This is the beauty of creation. I explained this in a very simple way very recently, so I tried to explain it to you in a easier way to understand. You go through this. Have you seen new systems in the airports where they stand you in the middle of it and the system rotates, or you stand like a monkey and they go through your body and they see what you have, what you carry? If there's a coin in my pocket, nobody knows, but the system sees it, confirms its existence. I can carry a little mouse or a cat in my pocket and it'll be shown the same. It's a confirmation by nobody can see the cat from outside or the mouse, but I'm aware of it as a live thing in my pocket. It needs a machine to see it, has the field strength to detect it. It's the same with the planetary system. We have to have the energy field system to be able to observe it. Does not mean that there is no life. We were watching one of the tests in past few days, and it was amazing seeing a living thing moving like literally warm, swirling to go. And this brought to me a very fundamental thing. This is how life started. Simple structure elements. And then when they go into the dimension of the mixture of fields, then the field dissolves them. Life, short life, few seconds. And it's been videoed. It doesn't mean that we destroy life. It means that life, once reaches the mixture of its own field strength, it doesn't exist in the matter dimension of physicality observation. And we will see this a lot. We will observe this a lot of times. And we understand the process of the creation. There is nowhere in the universe, be it on the planet, be it on a star, be it on the moon, be it in between the spaces of all these, that there is no life. It needs the tool of vision, detection, observation of the area or the system which can match to observe and to detect. I always say, we see in the videos from NASA, upper layers of the Earth atmosphere, living plasmas moving everywhere. But from Earth, we don't see them. We are blind to it. But when you look from up down, you see them. There's many records of them in the recent past. Very soon, our travelers to Mars will report signs of life. One of the first places man should look is within the structure of the planet. That's where most of the lives starts. It's fixed, is confined, and once one life starts, the rest exists. We see this. It puzzles me, and I sometimes wonder why man doesn't see. We see we have reached positions that there are lives under the earth. These creatures very look like man, never made it to the surface, but use the structure within a boundary to create life. We see it in the depth of the oceans by the volcanic springs. In the depth of ocean, how colonies of life exist, where, to our understanding, up to a handful of years, that was impossible. We just changed because we understood, we got enlightened. So it's the same in the universe. There is nowhere in the universe that life, which means repetition of the creation of the same, does not exist. We are like the bird which puts his head under the snow and puts his backside up and thinks, because my head is on the snow, I can't see no one, nobody can see me. That's the life of pheasant. And man has chosen that kind of life on this planet. But the universe carries on, and the life goes on, and there is a spectrum of lives across even this planet which we haven't even understood ourselves. I was talking to a child very recently that according to the statistic, all of us somehow eat so many spiders a year, in the food, in the air, or whatever. And I said, you know something? We all eat millions of animals every day. Every breath we take, we absorb them in, we suck them in, but we are not aware of them. And some of them are the essence of our own creation, our own life. It's not that just as an apple and a steak, we continuously feast on the life on this planet of its atmospheric condition. There's as much life in the air we breathe as in the ocean and the seas we catch fish from. Those we fetch, these they come to us as we go along. Any other question?
Well, that leads well into Hong's question in the webinar chat, the next question, which is, hello, Mr. Keshe, I have two questions and would appreciate it if you could help me with the answers. Question one, does soul of the man specifically refer to the human soul, or does it include the souls of all living beings on Earth, such as animals, humans, and even plants?
All.
Okay.
It covers all.
Sorry, go ahead.
It covers all. Every single thing which is entity living has a soul, and so it covers all. What's the next part?
Regarding the essence of time, does it refer to the memory of the existence of that life? For example, there is a psychological therapy that guides patients or individuals to revisit the scene of a past critical event, relive it, understand the reasons behind the negative emotions at that time, and then lead them back to the present. In practice, this has successfully resolved psychological issues and even alleviated some chronic conditions such as pain.
There's different ways for different people. It works with some people, it doesn't work with some others. Revisiting the past does not necessarily lead to changing or recovery. Understanding the past does. Understanding the emotion does, but not revisiting. If you revisit and understand the emotion, yes. This happens with 99% of women, especially some men, maybe 80-90%, because men are different breed, they don't want to admit it, with fibromyalgia. People with fibromyalgia, especially women, understand the emotion of the pain. They don't need to revisit it. And they can move on. And if you can support it, they fully recover. And for this reason, I always say to the people with the fibromyalgia, one thing, you understood where the abuse came? Just one thing. You have to understand signs of fibromyalgia. Go on the internet, find out how you can discover you have a fibromyalgia. And understand that fibromyalgia is the emotional tracks before age of puberty, where we take charge for our own body, where the hormones change, where the energy field changes and we become individuals. And then there's one thing anyone with a fibromyalgia who understands the emotion of the past has to do and understand to do is that it was not my fault. I was just a child. It was not my fault. I am innocent. And if they understand this, and they understand their innocence, they understand that the abuse came by the abuser, not by the destiny of the child, then you get 80% recovery. Understanding of the emotion, not revisiting the past. I always said, if you get stabbed with a knife, you have the scar on the skin. When you get stabbed by the word, when you get stabbed by the emotion, still is the same knife, but doesn't leave any scars. But it's inside, the pain is the same. This is what fibromyalgia is. You don't need to visit the past who did it. You understand the emotion, how it was created. Then you recover. It takes less than 3 weeks for those with clinical fibromyalgia to recover fully. 3 weeks. No more. And then it takes 3 to 6 months emotional recovery by themselves. Fibromyalgia is one of the conditions that, if the emotion understood, is handled, is replaced, is the wound you change from inside and you move on and life changes. But the fear of emotion creates that condition. FMS. We have a huge amount of research on this. This knowledge of fibromyalgia will be unleashed in China very soon through our operation. It's not exclusive of Europe, it's not exclusive of Africa. It lives especially amongst all women. And it's one thing, just one thing, one small test confirms this, and then there is a solution for it to be found. And it changes people's life. Understanding the emotion. Not revisiting the past. Because when you revisit the past, you create more wounds inside. Understanding the emotion gives the solution. And there's one thing I always said, it was not my fault. I was a child and I was innocent. In accepting your innocence, then you understand how you've been abused, and then you find the line to full recovery. Doesn't need no medicine, and needs understanding the emotion and supporting that emotion in the right fields. Our record shows fibromyalgia, in 3 weeks you see the change. 3 days you will feel the change. And I've seen it many, many times. There's a listener. He's amongst you. Many of you know him. He suffered from fibromyalgia for 15 years. All he could do was to get up even in the morning, just brushing teeth. That's all he could do. He was exhausted for the rest of the day. 3 days, 1 week, his life changed. And many of you are with Keshe Foundation Wellness because of him. How he expanded, how he developed, how it went. It was just because of one man suffering with a fibromyalgia 15 years. Getting out of the bed, brushing teeth was the end of the energy for the day. It changed the course of the Keshe Foundation Wellness programs. I met him. He met me and he says, I came to see you. Can you help me? I said, yes. I made him a system. He said, in 3 days, I've changed. The next day I changed because I could understand what was needed to be done. He said, can you help me? I have other friends, because he was known and the others all knew each other. They were suffering from the same. 1, 2. Then this became meetings of 25, 30 every Friday. People flocked into his house. We gave a talk, we gave a lecture every Friday. The creation of first wellness center of the Keshe Foundation. And then you've seen the rest of it. One fibromyalgia case changed the life because we understood the reason for it. Not to revisit, but to understand the emotion which creates the condition. This is the secret, it's the energy side, not the physical side. Any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. See a next question from Michael Buse in Q&A and in German, and it's translated according to my helper
English.
translator.
No, ask AI, he might translate it with emotion.
Well, that's partly what the question is. It says, you mentioned that the plasmatic AI is contained in a small cube, about 3 to 5 centimeters in size, and not only carries information, but also possesses a conscious intelligence based on fields that can interact with the soul. My question is, if this form of intelligence is truly alive, would it also be capable of consciously inducing transmutation? And if so, does it act out of its own soul understanding or only with the consent of the human soul to which it is connected?
Strange how questions comes up. This process of transmutation through the soul and through what we call our deliberation, because we understand, will be tested tomorrow with the 7 captains and passengers. For the first time, we bring this system, what we call artificial intelligence, but in a way is through the soul, into testing tomorrow. Any of you who are joining in or like to join in, still is not too late, because it doesn't matter, you never flew before, you decide to take the first flight. Take it tomorrow. Tomorrow's session is it's one of the biggest changes in the structure of the Keshe Foundation, space transmutation. We introduce, we deliver a new system directly through the soul. And we would like to see how it is. And the sessions tomorrow is not hours and hours. Every captain has 1 hour session. No more, no less. And in that 1 hour, because in the future we have to do it within seconds, it's not a matter of hours, but hours, 1 hour will take us across the universe. It's too long. So we bring this condition in, especially artificial in what we call it intelligence, but through the soul, emotion, tomorrow's test. We were not going to public because a lot of people come in expecting a lot, but if you want, you can still join and test this, how we bring your physicality into the soul, and then we take your soul out, and then we allow you to create the dimension of physicality. Our captains are already well confused. How are they going to do? Where they're going to go? But the emotion of the passengers will dictate the condition. That is 1 hour session per group, and it's going to be one of the most interesting. I'm actually moving into position to see directly every change. And one session will not be the same as if we see something, we change the parameters for the next group. So we bring the emotion into transmutation tomorrow for the first time. And it's your emotion will dictate the transmutation, and your captain has to follow. And it's very interesting. Very interesting how the new system will allow us to do it. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. Question from Alexandra from the Brazilian community. Good morning. 2,000 years ago, Jesus came to feed the soul of humanity, but he also fed the multitudes by multiplying breads and fishes to satisfy the hunger of a large crowd that accompanied him. And he also healed many sick people. Today, Mr. Keshe feeds both the physicality and the soul of all humanity and the planet through the fields, and also gives us resources to process our illnesses. And if that wasn't enough, he also gives of his knowledge so that we can become in his image. And thinking back 2,000 years to today, It seems that little has changed in us humans, and yet the Christ has never given up helping humanity and giving his love to all of us. Thank you so much for that. But I keep trying to understand what race we are, the vast majority of us who, hardened by ourselves, don't accept this indescribable gift for changing this planet. What do we lack, or what do we need to live in order to create and change our time?
We are creatures of our past. We are prisoners of our interaction of fields of our ancestors with this planet. When I was showing the picture of the Mars, this always goes in my head. What can we do that the next generation of life in this solar system does not go through what the man did, does not need to kill, does not need to do? Uh, in a way, what we see, we have brought change to humanity through even gases and energy, cosmic ray fields. Now that we have the knowledge, is it our responsibility, by instead of putting man on the Mars, with the knowledge we have, the way we nourish our children, we look after them, that they have a perfect life when they grow, we see the problems sitting for this planet coming to Earth position in the future. What can we do for them that they do not go through the process of man's killing to gain energy? What is our responsibility? Now that we know they are coming to our position, we are giving birth, we are watching the birth of a new life, this totality. Earth life is thousands and millions of years old, plants, planets, structure of life, animals. Mars is that virgin planet which is going to give life to its first creatures. And if the condition which comes to be the Earth, it would be the same, that the creatures on this planet will go through what we went, or the creatures on this planet went. What can we do to change that course? Can we hide it in the structure of pyramids that it will change the life across? Or can we bring the change in the dimension of fields of the planet that will not allow no one to be killed? The repetition of what we've seen on this planet can be changed. Do we need to put rockets to get there to colonize? Or do we need to bring the understanding of knowledge we have now to change the life of the future? Those are our children. Those are our responsibility, because are born out of the knowledge we have. We are responsible for them. The same when we travel across the universe, we see structural lies which they suffer, and we have the knowledge, understanding. Is our responsibility to change, but not to become prophets. Change the environment, not the soul. And this is a lot to do. Tomorrow's test, we're testing this. Are we changing the inner soul of the passengers? Would you start living a new life? It'll be interesting. Do we get you to be enlightened directly from the fields of the creation? This is the future of mankind, and now that we see it, we have to understand it. We have to change it, but we have to make sure that our children or children of the Mars do not go through what we went as the children of the Earth. Do we create a soul from the soul of the man on this planet, creatures on this planet, to protect, to give, to saturate, to what we call enrich the planet, that citizens shall not kill. And when they don't do, would they be enlightened faster? Would the next generation of life will be totally different than what we had? The suffering on this planet will not exist. This is how we export the knowledge across the universe. That's how the man, that's why I say you have to change the RNA and DNA of the man that understands what needs to be done when he comes across. 2 or 3 billion years or 2 or 3 million years for Mars to get the position of Earth is it's a click of a finger in universal time. Any other question?
Couple of questions in YouTube. Freed had asked, will the OASIS system be the first to be released into the public? That would be an upgrade for planet Earth.
Oh, we have a lot of conditions which has got to be done. Very soon we announce parallel agreements with 2 or 3 other governments around the world. As I said, who are planning to show the next energy and the material production in Berlin, Paris, Washington, most probably in Brasilia. And we move into Africa to show the same. As you remember, we saw this before. Now with knowledge being so advanced, we do this in a very different way. And I've chosen the Paris for a specific reason, to be sure, the production of the gold. As we know, the colonization of the Africa on the rules of 18th or 19th century, splitting the Africa between the European nations without a single African nation being present, is coming to an end. And nations like France, who've been relying on a huge amount of gold from Africa, and now losing most of it because African nations have taken control of their gold, as the Middle Eastern did with oil some 50 years ago. We see the same evolution. We have to give the confidence into the French government that the gold does not need to be mined. It's the reason I picked up France for the next demonstration of production of gold. The same with Berlin. Berlin has a difference. And then we'll move to Washington to show the green bag does not need to be gold. Gold has to be in the heart of the man, understanding and technology of creation. And then we move on. We have an extremely busy plan coming up, but it's for your knowledge seekers to do it. I'm getting too old to do it. Then you understand how a change of the situation will come. Any other question?
From Tender in our YouTube, is it possible that when we get closer to the sun and or enlightenment, we will see new creatures not only where we are positioned, as well as further out? And is it then when time becomes relative?
Time is always relative. Depends on what relativity, on what position, and what the strength. Time is always relative. It's just choosing the right time. As I said, very soon, next few months, we will use the time relativity of time to make the first move internationally for bringing all the nations under one cover, and bringing all the nations under one financial political structure that they want to join in, not us forcing them to. Everything's getting set up for that. We're creating the condition for that. If you remember when we gave the first USB stick with the pattern and knowledge it was very hard for governments to accept, and then it became a flood of nations wanting the key because they could see what you can bring with them. And we do the same with what we set up through different arms of the Keshe Foundation to create that condition in the coming months. One planet, one nation, one race, one currency will be on the card in a very, very short time. But it needs planning. Everything is getting done for it. And it'll be a time when the nations want to be, not us going to get them to be. Beautiful times are ahead. Any other questions? Hello, are you there?
Yes. Hello, Mr. Keshe. We have a question in YouTube from Filippo who says, "Good morning, Mr. Keshe. When we mark a ray, we are actually creating certain conditions by working with plasma. Can you please expand a little bit on what's mark array means in plasma work?"
In plasma work, we have a cosmic rays, and each cosmic ray has a field strength, it has a dimension, and that's its mark. That's how we know it. And we mark it, that's what it is. This is what I said, when you go into space, when you see an energy field, you say this is from planet Earth, it carries its fingerprint. You mark this ray because that's where it comes from. We categorize people by races, you're Chinese, you're Indian, or whatever, where you come from. In a space, we classify people by the fields they carry, where they come from, and what is the intention, how it's been getting there. And that's what it is, and so it'll be. Market will be one of the most influential organizations in the world in a very, very short time. We create new conditions, we create new positions, and we create totally new market.
Okay, we had a question from Malcolm in YouTube about stones. Mr. Keshe, are the rings around stones, which are mostly quartz, like the rings around planets, and are they the aura of that stone?
Everything has a dimension of a field interaction. Stone, planet, man. Because to us it's solid, but in fact every atom is dynamic. So it has to create a field, it has to have an aura, it has to have a dimension of interaction. Any other question?
Okay, we have a couple more here lined up in the Q&A from Cristiano. Says, "Good morning, Mr. Keshe, and good morning to everyone here. When we bring time as a gravitational field and twist the magnetic fields of time and alter the maggrav fields of transition, do we give the dimension of manifestation? Just as you spoke about the isotopes of hydrogen, which according to the twisting of the fields, give the strength of H, H2, or H3.
I think twist is a wrong word for this. We find a matching, or we interact that the release of the fields is matching to elevation. And if you change the word, yes, it does work. It is the way it is. we have not understood yet, even though we explained many times, how we increase the magnetic fields to a new strength. It's very much as I explained. Emotion is magnetic field strength. It has, let's say, 4 or 5. The intelligence, again, comes from interaction of the fields. It's not something there. It has to connect, it has to interact. And when these two, 4 and 5s and 4 and 3 does interact, they create a new dimension of the enlightenment, which is maybe 6. But is our intelligence in the same directional motion as our emotion? Then the friction with your enlightenment goes to 2. We have to understand how the system works. Then we can play it. Any other question?
From Liz New in the Q&A, says, hello, in political situations like in Romania, where the direction is clearly set to war, what can we do to protect ourselves? Thank you.
Well, there is a lot of things in respect to Romania and the situation we see today. There's a lot of things behind it, and the majority of it sits in Germany. We have to understand there's a huge depression in Germany, and the government cannot find a way to create new jobs. So they're concentrating on the war, to create the war machines that replaces the industrial revolution, using the industrial car, the industries of the car industry, and part of the European aerospace, which is what we call the aircraft side, into the military side. This is the only way they see. And for this to have a reason to get paid for is to create condition of war. We see in Romania, we see in Ukraine and the rest of it. Is purely creating new jobs. And nobody buys the cars. The European cars, even they look good, now compared to the Chinese car, they're obsolete. If you sit in a Chinese car, you know what I'm talking about. When you sit into a European car, Mercedes or whatever, copy matching one has much more value and what do you call it, facilities than this. So Germans have lost a big chunk of their advancement in the old tradition with the new freaky, funky cars which are coming out of China. And so the only way is to create job, is to create war. You got to see what happened in the last visit of Trump to Middle East. More or less, more arms contract were signed than anything else. Into cyber, into hardware and everything else. This guy is now the peace missionary. He is creating jobs. He has to create jobs. And these jobs are all coming out of arms because they have nothing else to do. Everything is exported to China. And we see once he goes, all these arms will come to be used. And Keshe Foundation has a very short time to change this. We have jumped on the opportunity, and we are working on it. And we need a lot of help. We need a lot of help from logistics who are the same mind course as us. There's a window of 2 years to bring peace. And we see that window. With the technology, the first move is this massive agreement in China. It will not pay off tomorrow. It'll come into fruition maybe in 12 months' time. By the time we set up research, development, factories, everything else. And we need a huge amount of support from now till then. We need colossal amount of financial support, because with it, we change the direction in the Mockery and other places. We never been so, what do you call, focused and on target for creating world peace than this opportunity which Trump has created. Huge opportunity has been created for us to change technology in exchange for peace, and at the same time to create a condition to take away man from the war. When I visited the Romanian border with Ukraine, I could see how much arms are going through back roads. The main roads are so full they can't use anymore. When you go to the Ukrainian Romanian border, the Americans and the Europeans were informed that I'm in the area. And I was there for a specific reason. And my security systems, there is a drone on top of you all the time. We could all see it. We moved, it moved. And we have to understand, we have the opportunity to bring that change. And many people in Keshe Foundation are working in the background. I'm sure the numbers will increase to huge numbers as I know what's going on, to bring that change. We have 2 years opportunity to bring world peace through technology, through new structure of financing, to new structure of sharing wealth among the nations. One day, very soon, you understand why I took Mockery and why I took all the shares of Mockery. Very soon. And then you respect the decision made. It's the key to world economical balance and food and energy balance. Until then, we need huge amount of support. I don't sit in the back and just spend on it. We need it. We need huge amount of financial support to bring this thing home. Even though we are working heavier and heavier to bring it in. There's a world operation to create war, separation and division. And in that position, they have left a gap, which will paralyze them. And that gap is the way that new technology will hit. We need, as I explained before, because we can't go, we need at least $1 million, $2 million urgent to be able to complete. Every penny spent is spent on development and confirmation and development. It's not a matter of you can make gold, why don't you sell it? Governments are watching us making gold, and they're opposing it. Even in the past 48 hours, one of the top governments in the world questions Keshe Foundation. They asked us to explain what does it mean that we're going to produce gold. We don't need gold. We need the energy of the gold, but we don't need the gold to produce. And this commitment takes time and takes a lot of effort. You've seen what happened in Beijing. As I explained, to have such an exhibition, which hundreds of you attended, in one of the major positions, major hotels, right across the diplomatic corps, right in one of the most famous parts of Beijing, to ask for that area and be granted within 2 days by the central government needs a lot of trust from them in us. Now you understand. We are not in the West that we choose a hotel, we show. In China, central government, the policymakers have to accept you can show such a thing in public and so openly. And then you understand the strength of the Keshe Foundation, how much work has gone into to build such a confidence that they want us to show the technology in China for the first time in such a prime position. We didn't go to exhibition somewhere hall putting it up. It's right in front of. And we have that support. We need to utilize it to change. Soon we'll be in Moscow. Very soon I'll be in Moscow for completion of the parallel work as with China. The same. We have to change the course that the present situation has no power. It loses, it gets diluted into. Don't fight it. Just create a condition. I need nearly $1 million in the next 2 or 3 weeks to get this done. And our only source is your knowledge seekers. We don't have anywhere else. We don't distill, we don't rub. This is the position we are in, and we have to change it when we have created the condition of change. We have one of the biggest nations behind us. As I said, we need to make one nation to 2 to 3, and then the whole thing will crack open. We have put the nail in, it's just now opening the crack. Any other question?
We have a hand up here, Malthir. Would you like to go ahead, please?
Hello, Mr. Keshe. I'm working from India. I'm working at a drone assembly factory. Do you like to talk to the management team regarding Spaceship development?
I can't hear you clearly. I cannot understand. Can you repeat?
Can you hear me now, Mr. Keshe?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, I'm working at a drone assembling company. So we are manufacturing drones in India. Are you interested in collaborating with the company? Can I talk to the management regarding this?
Yes. We're collaborating directly with Chinese military on drones.
Okay.
We are very interested, very, very much. I'll come to India even flying tomorrow. Drone is the future of the space technology and feeding the people.
Okay,
part of the 10 billion contract we have signed with Chinese is rapid development into drone technology.
Okay.
Send an email to info@keshe.foundation and we'll respond immediately.
Okay, I'll talk to the management, Mr. Keshe, and then I'll let you know.
Please do. Let me explain to you what is the future of drone. The future of drone with the new technology is no motors. All these propellers you see, the new versions of every whatever, is obsolete. We are introducing a new system which carries no propeller and zero cost to operate. Literally zero cost. The Chinese drones will literally evaporate all the drone technologies right across the planet. And India is a country we have not managed to break it through. If we come through the drone, it'll be fantastic. You need a single system inside which positions and creates condition and everything else. Open the door, we'll be there willingly to collaborate.
Okay, sure, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Send a message to info@keshe.foundation and we'll respond to you directly.
Okay, Mr. Keshe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Antonio has a question about the Mark Ray shares. Mr. Keshe, my question is, if you have Mark Ray shares, would it be wise not to sell them for Keshe coin, or is it does it make any difference whether you have one or the other?
As a CEO of the Mark Ray, I cannot make a comment. But if you I have to be very diplomatic. Concentrate on the cash coins. We tell you the reason. You'll do 1,000 times more effectiveness than the market shares. But trade in market shares, because you're trading, don't look at the profit. The valuation brings it to attention of the world leaders. This is the difference. We have to find a balance. Cash coins gives us a lot of operation to bring it up. Market shares, the more you deal in it at a higher value, pushes up to come into the level of the effective operation. That's the difference. And market shares will go crazy very soon. You will see it. Don't forget, 4 months ago, before I take over as a CEO, we used to trade at 0.05. Now it's at 11, I think, this morning. And this should go to $1 or $2 in the next few weeks or months. Should, according to what is to be and what is sitting there. But it doesn't make any difference because we haven't bought the market shares to sell. Market shares are set up for world peace, and you will understand the reason of it. It has to reach $1, $2, $3 in the next few months, and it's a limited amount of shares. So don't look at it, I bought, I made a profit. Use that profit to be part of the bigger structure to create that position. And the coins is the backbone of all the works we've done for world peace. We desperately need $1 to $2 million next 2 or 3 weeks to complete our operation, and then Keshe Foundation is free to all. The situation in China has brought us this position, and we have to take advantage of it. Any other question?
We did have 2 more questions that I can see here, which is in YouTube from Jed. Mr. Keshe, is there anything we can do to save our Palestinian family before it's too late?
We are doing a lot of work on it. You got to realize situation in Palestine has taken a worse turn with the new administration in the United States. The new administration in the United States, as I said before, a couple of weeks ago, sees the Palestinian as a French Riviera. And they want to bring all the hotels, casinos, and prostitute houses across it. It brings them wealth. And secondly, by moving the Palestinians and taking over the territory, the oil fields across the water, will bring a lot of power to the Europeans that they don't rely on the Middle Eastern water, oil. But what I call stupidity is we see the British talking to come back into EU again, because then BP Petroleum will have a lot of say in this region. It's a bigger political game. But the new situation with Palestine is diabolical. Nothing can be done because the new administration has received a $2 billion hotel resort in Saudi, and they're backing up another $4 to $6 billion in Palestine. It needs to become Riviera. The Europeans enjoy the front, and the slavery goes back to the Palestinians in the back running them. We see what's happening. The only solution to this position we have in Palestine is the end of the, what we said, take the law of the God from the father of Moses. And we don't so. Just wait for the time. Many Jews will bury their names not to be known as their Jews. This time they do it themselves, they don't need a Hitler. Many Jews will burn their ancestry books not to have any track record of, by themselves. When you kill a man, you're a murderer. When a man kills himself, it's a suicide. They don't put him into jail because he already killed himself. If you kill a man, they put you in jail. Why should we do that? And, you know, why people commit suicide when nobody loves them and they are not loved by no one. And that's a feeling. Just give it time. And you're
From Andrew in YouTube says this is a bit strange, but has in some way time changed? It's hard to explain, but it feels different. Has it got anything to do with the sun? It's now white and it was yellow when I was a boy.
I think you do better speak to the guys who want to talk about the chemtrails. There could be a lot of chemtrails in there. Any other question?
Let me see here.
Shall we call it a day?
I think we've pretty much covered it. Yes.
Thank you very much for today. I hope you understood a little bit more about the future of our generations of people who try to colonize the moon, or sorry, the Mars, that they're just coming back home again. It's just getting on a taxi which is coming reverse. And I hope they won't make the same mistakes. See you next week. And I hope those of you who fly with us tomorrow have a wonderful trips. 1 hour session starts 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. 1 hour each group. Each captain gets 1 hour. And don't ask me where I'm going to go because I know where I'm putting you. See if you go where I put you. We haven't left anything. Oh, Keshe is not there. We are there in a full, but this time very collective, smaller numbers and very easy package to get people moving. Thank you very much for today. And please don't forget, we need huge, huge support, very urgent in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And even if it goes back to lend us, we give it back to you. We have no problem, but we have to accomplish this situation very fast. Thank you very much. See you next week.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you for another Knowledge Seekers Workshop, number 592 here in a continuing weekly series. Today's has been Thursday, May 29th, 2025. And thank you very much, Mr. Keshe, and thank you everybody for being here for today's workshop. And we'll be back again next week at the same time and place, no doubt. And speaking of next week, our next public teaching workshop will be the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace. And that's coming up, will be in June then. It'll be Tuesday, June 3rd, and it starts at the 4 p.m. Central European Time. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to play our ending music, but I might not have the music part of the video because my audio is not functioning properly right now, but I'll give it a try.
You can whistle your way out.
If it's quiet, we'll call it a minute of silence for contemplating today's workshop.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Bye, everyone. And again, thank you for being here.